How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Fu Show. I'm your host, Coach Ali Fu Show. In today's episode, actually, before I go talk about today's episode, I do want to greet everyone a happy new year. Yes, I know it's been over a week already since the new year has come to us, but of course, it's still nice to greet everyone a happy new year. And especially, since it's been roughly over 3 weeks since my last upload to this podcast, of course, I want to greet everyone, a belated Merry Christmas and of course, a Happy New Year. In the time that I was gone, just to share with you guys, just in case you guys are interested in my personal life, I had an amazing latter half of December. And of course, until this first week of January. The reason why is because I was happily able to see my wife again. To those of you who have been watching this podcast or who've been watching the previous episodes, you guys know that my wife is currently based in Japan while I'm still here in the Philippines. But because of the holidays, we had to see each other. We first met up on December 23rd. We met up in Singapore. So my wife flew from Japan to Singapore. I flew from here to the Philippines to Singapore. The reason why is because my sister, who is now based there, so she lives there. So as a family, we all wanted to visit her and spend Christmas there. But my wife and I, we came back here prior to New Year to spend it with her family this time around. So again, just a really fun time. Obviously, if I'm with my wife, if my wife is visiting, my entire focus was my wife. I didn't have any of my coaching clients, my in-person coaching clients. Normally, in the past 6 years of me coaching, I'd always still coach like all throughout the year. So like even in between Christmas and New Year, I'd still be coaching because, of course, I had some clients who still wanted to work out. But this time I told everyone, you know what, guys, my wife's visiting. I want to really dedicate time to her. So during that time that she was here, I barely coached or I didn't coach at all, just to really dedicate time. And I guess it's a change of heart. I guess this is something that every newlywed couple will experience. I guess for me, like as a new husband, before I thought like, career is everything, etc. I just want to keep on doing work. I want to keep on helping my clients with their goals, etc., which is a good thing. But then I know this is off, the usual fitness topic, but I just wanted to share with everyone that I guess in the change of mindset that the moment you're married, of course, you still have to be very focused in your career because, of course, if that's really what you want to take seriously, you have to take it seriously. But another serious thing that I allowed myself to get into was into a marriage. I can't just, of course, we haven't been married for a long time. It hasn't even been a year yet. I have to really dedicate more time and effort to really show that, hey, I'm really in it for this relationship. I want us to grow. Of course, my wife and I, we're really close to each other. But of course, the more time I spend with her, it just becomes a lot better. So I'm no expert, but I do want to say that to all couples, I guess I'll just speak for the men for now. Of course, no major difference, I would guess, but I just want to speak to the men that once you guys are really, really decided to get married, you guys have to realize your paradigm will be shifting. Like, the paradigm shift, your priorities, basically your entire life will be changed, and in the hope that you and your partner will really have a fruitful, successful, and loving relationship. I don't know why I'm talking about this right now. I was supposed to talk about, New Year's resolutions with regards to the fitness industry or with regards to fitness goals, but I just wanted to talk about that. And that's precisely why, if you guys don't follow me on Instagram, you probably don't know that I have this tattoo, happy wife, happy life. I know it sounds really silly and funny for a lot of people, but of course, I got it because I do love funny tattoos. But it's just something that I believe that has completely changed within me. And if you are on the same boat where you're thinking about getting married anytime soon, or you just got into a relationship, it's just something that you will really change within your mind, within your mindset. Oh yeah, speaking of new tattoos, I think it's the first time for these. I got 2 new tattoos during that gap in December. I told you a lot of things happened in the past December. So I got this one. This one is for my mom, just to share. I won't go into detail, but this is for my mom, and this one's dedicated for me with regards to my overall career path, etc., or like future, whatever. Not to go into detail, but now, since I've spent, how long have I been talking? I spent the first 5 minutes of the episode not talking about anything fitness related. So, what a great start to the new year. But anyway, guys, welcome back to the Foo Show. This is episode 21. The title that I've decided for this episode would be How to Go to the Gym for the Whole 2023. Now, of course, a lot of the time, or almost every single year, people make resolutions. The resolution that does, come up a lot would be the resolution to go to the gym, to be healthier, to be fitter, to live a more active lifestyle. And that's a great goal, a great resolution to have. But of course, we all know that it's somewhat of a laughing matter because we all know that not a lot of people stick to it. Or in other words, we all know that almost everyone that makes that resolution fails within the first 1 to 3 months. And of course, that's sad, but people laugh at it. Then they'll just say, oh, maybe next year or maybe next year. So the goal of this podcast episode is to help those people who have yet again made the goal to live a fitter life, healthier, more active life, just so that they can live their life the way they want to without any limitations, without health limitations, without just being limited by how, I guess to phrase it, how weak your body is or how frail or fragile your body is. The goal of this episode, excuse me, the goal of this episode is to give you guys 5 tips on how to go to the gym for the whole 2023, how to stick to your routine, how to make sure that you are as consistent as possible, because we all know, hopefully by now we should all know that the number one thing that will contribute to you having a successful fitness journey or fitness transformation is for you to be as consistent as you can. So that is precisely why I've listed 5 things or 5 tips on how to still go to the gym or how to go to the gym for the entire year of 2023. All right, so tip number 1, very straightforward. Again, these tips are not hacks. These are not new things. These are just things that I would want to rephrase because it's going to be a bit more easily absorbed. The first tip is to just show up. You've heard it time and time again, excuse me, whether that be in this podcast or elsewhere. The first thing that you have to do to make sure that you are hitting your goals so that you are making your way towards your goals would be to just show up. Now, I know, of course, it's a lot easier said than done because that's the main thing that hinders a lot of people from achieving their goals. They don't achieve their goals. They don't lose that extra 5 to 10 pounds. They don't gain that muscle. They don't gain that new personal record in the squat, bench, or deadlift. They don't achieve any of that just because they didn't show up to the gym. Now, if you just show up and make sure that you go to the gym, that you physically go to your gym or go to your home gym, you are already setting yourself up to be really, really close to accomplishing your goals. Now, the moment you show up to the gym, you might be wondering, oh, but now, of course, I have to dread being there. I have to dread doing all the sets that's in my program. And of course, ideally, don't dread it because the more you dread it, the more you're going to hate the process, the more likely you're going to drop off or drop out of the program. And then once again, and in another year, you're not going to achieve your goals. So on top of that tip of you just showing up, you have to make sure that what you have set out for yourself for the day is not that crazy difficult. Again, I want to explain that this episode is for the people who are just about to start out. If you are an immediate or elite or advanced lifter already, of course, this is way past you already. But you just have to make sure that once you show up, you just get the work done. Does it have to be hard work right now? No. Because what's considered hard work for you specifically is to just show up. Once you've shown up already at the gym, you are already like, you're 90% done. If that's your biggest hurdle of showing up, and once you've accomplished that, all you have to do is just get some work done and then get out. Again, it doesn't have to be a 2-hour workout, 3-hour workout. And normally for beginners, you wouldn't even recommend a 2 or 3-hour workout. You just have to make sure that they're moving well. If you're a beginner, just show up at the gym, get your programming done. Do you have to break a sweat? Yeah, hopefully you do. Hopefully you put some effort in. Of course, we don't want bale-wala workouts, but at the end of the day, quote-unquote bale-wala workouts are still better than not working out at all. I've said this time and time again. Some work is better than zero work at all. Again, something is always, always better than nothing. So that is precisely why all you have to do, tip number 1, is to just show up, get the work done, and get out of the gym. And if you do that for X amount of times that you've set out, example, if you set to yourself, oh, I'll just show up 4 times a week, that's perfectly fine. If you feel like, oh, 4 times is too much, 3 times is what you can dedicate based on your schedule, that's perfectly fine. Just show up to the 3 days. If you feel like you can only go twice a week, that's perfectly fine as well. I have a good number of clients who can only work out 2 times a week because of a busy schedule, whether that be with family, school, job, a combination of all of them, and they can only work out twice a week. As long as they show up twice a week, guaranteed they have results. Because again, the very first thing, and this is precisely why it's the first thing that I wrote down, because of how important it is, you just have to show up. Of course, if there are instances where, an example, your car broke down on the way and then there's no other time to fix it but now, then fine, you can't show up. Or if there's any other emergency, then that's perfectly fine. All you have to do is that whenever the time comes, you just have to show up. All right. Tip number 2. After you show up, what you then have to do is to make sure that your progression is as incremental as can be, or like a minimal jump or incremental jumps. A lot of you might be wondering, hey, like if you're talking about just showing up, you're talking about minor progressions. When I say minor, I'm just saying like, oh, maybe you can add 1 rep next time, or maybe you can add another set, or maybe you can add 5 pounds. Yes, minor jumps, but that's to make sure that tip number 1 still gets to be followed all throughout the year. Because if you perform the exact opposite of tip number 2 of making small incremental jumps, and instead you make big, you leap 20 or 30 pounds, 20 or 30 kilos from your previous weight, what's going to happen? It's going to be too heavy for you. Your technique is going to be all over the place. Your fatigue is going to be at an all-time high, and your likelihood to get hurt will be at an all-time high as well, which will definitely increase the chances of you not wanting to go back to the gym. And because of that, you are not going to show up. So after you show up, and of course, that's an amazing achievement already to show up at the gym, we do have to strive for progression. It doesn't have to be a rush thing. Again, minor incremental jumps, small incremental jumps. And that can already be considered a good workout. Now, if you guys are really into the fitness, jargon or fitness language, you are well acquainted, or you well familiar with the term of progressive overload. And that basically means there has to be some form of progression from workout to workout, week to week, month to month. Of course, it will depend based on your, level, if you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced. But nonetheless, if you're definitely a beginner, you can make those small incremental jumps. I'll list them down. Once again, if you're able to do, let's talk about everyone's favorite, the bench press. If you're able to do 3 sets of 5 of 50 kilos with good technique, what you can do next time is to aim for 3 sets of 5 at 52.5 kilograms. And just by adding 2.5 kilograms at total, you've now progressed. Great. Another way, so that's increasing the weight. Another way is to just add a rep. So once again, if you did 3 by 5 of 50, what you can then do is 3 by 6 of 50. You might be wondering, hey, is that something to be like amazed at, that you just added one rep? Well, as long as you maintain the good technique, and then that you completely understand that that is just one step among all the like hundreds or thousands of steps that you'll be making throughout the entire year, then yes, that is a very essential part. At the moment, it might not seem like a big jump, precisely because it's not. We're always supposed to look at it at the broadest view, like an overview. It's not always about the day to day. It's about day 1 versus day 50, day 100, day 150. You're comparing yourself to when you started versus to where you are right now. So from that day to day, sure, look at those minor things, but you don't have to be so atat, or what's the good English word? You don't have to be too eager to keep on progressing really, really fast, because again, tip number 1, just show up. And then tip number 2, make those minor jumps, because they will add up. Those minor jumps will significantly add up from the weeks to the months, and obviously throughout the year. From January 1 all the way up to December 31, you should see, as long as you followed, actually with just these two, just showing up and making minor jumps in your workouts, drastic, a huge difference can be observed from Jan 1 to December 31 just by following those two things. It doesn't even have to be like the smartest programming. You just have to show up, and you just have to make sure that the jumps are not too crazy, and that they're smart and they're small. All right. Tip number 3, of course, this is now, a bit more, or I was going to say the word complex, but I guess let's just use that term. It's a bit more complex now compared to just showing up. Because right now, I want you guys, tip number 3 is to be specific and or to have a plan. Because if everyone has their own fitness goals, of course, staying in the gym throughout the whole year, that's a huge win already. But a lot of people have different reasons for going to the gym. Somebody might want to go to the gym because they want bigger pecs. Somebody else might want to go to the gym because they want to lose weight, etc. Different goals for different people. And of course, different goals have different approaches. Like different destinations have different approaches. Now, of course, if you're going to ask me, and if you know me really well already, strength training, generally speaking, will answer for almost every goal that there is, whether that be fat loss, strength gain, muscle gain, mobility, endurance, joint health, which is basically, that's basically every fitness goal possible already. Strength training, or just ensuring that you are getting stronger, like through resistance training, will significantly help with those fitness goals. But of course, some people might have some biases over another thing. So again, fat loss versus muscle gain, etc. Now, that's why tip number 3 is to be specific with your planning. Be specific with what you want to do. So once you show up and once you are able to make incremental gains, jumps in your progressions, be specific on where you're able to do that. Again, this is just very general. Of course, there is some science to a lot of these things. But generally speaking, if your specific goal is to get stronger in the bench press, of course, you have to bench press. If your specific goal is to squat heavier, then you have to squat heavier, right? It's all about being specific. But if you want to lose fat, if you want to, of course, build endurance, those work, of course, you benching heavier, you squatting heavier, like as a beginner, you will also be losing fat. But you just have to make sure that at the same time, you know what else you should be doing. If you're after fat loss, yes, get stronger in the gym, but you also have to be mindful of what you're eating. This is not new. This is not new information that's being shared on this podcast, on this episode. It's just that you do have to be specific, because if it turns out that you're doing the exact opposite. So, for example, again, this is a stupid example, but it's still an example that may help a lot of people. If you want to get a stronger bench press, you deadlifting won't make you have a stronger bench press. That's straightforward. So if you have a specific goal, then you have to have specific approaches, specific programming, or a specific method that will help you achieve those specific goals. But if you're somebody who just wants to live a healthier, generally stronger, fitter life, then just do what you enjoy. That's the beauty of that's, of course, being specific is great, but there's also merits in not being specific, because you can just literally do, as I said, just showing up, making sure that you're making incremental gains in any exercise that you enjoy doing, then that's going to be really, really helpful for you. So again, if you have specific goals, have a specific approach. If not, just follow the show up and still have those gains, and you're going to be absolutely fine. All right. So when I said be specific, of course, it means having a plan, which will now lead to tip number 4, is that whether or not this is a program that your personal trainer or your online coach has, given you, or it's a random program or any program that you found online. Let's say it's a 8-week program, a 16-week program. I want you guys to accept that life happens and the plan won't be followed 100% to the T, or like to the dot, whatever the phrase is. So a lot of times you're not able to go to the gym because this happens, or if you're allotted 60 minutes only becomes 30 minutes because of whatever reason, and you're not able to finish all your accessories. You're only able to do 2 sets when the program said 4 sets. I want you guys to accept that throughout the program, throughout the 8 weeks or 16 weeks that you're on, it probably won't be followed 100%. So accept that already and understand that it's okay. A lot of people, when they miss a set or miss a workout, or example, they overdo it or they underdo a program or a workout if they overdo or underdo something within a workout, they feel like, oh no, the entire program is messed up now. I should just quit and stop already. No, don't do that. If something throws you off your programming, you miss a day, or miss 2 days, you miss the gym was too full, the lat pull down was taken, so you couldn't do your lat pull down, or all the treadmills were taken, you couldn't do your steps for this 1 week or 1 session. Accept that. It's not perfect, it's not ideal, but it's not over. So when that happens, just accept it and move forward to the next workout when the time comes. So example, classic scheduling is MWF. You got to go Monday, you got to go Wednesday. Friday comes up, there's an important meeting that you couldn't miss. What happens? You can, of course, if you can go Saturday or Sunday, if you can go do your supposed Friday workout on a Saturday or Sunday, that's perfectly fine. But if scheduling can't, allow you at all, then my honest suggestion is, of course, this can vary depending on who you are or what program you have. If you missed your Friday workout and you have no other means to make up for it, I would then suggest, if it's Monday already of the succeeding week, just perform the Monday workout, because scheduling really matters. How consistent you are, or how well you're able to maintain the structure of your program, that will really dictate the long-term projection. So again, if you miss something, that's perfectly fine. Accept it that life is not perfect, especially with working out. So accept it and then just move on, carry it on, and then of course still aim to show up, still aim to have those jumps, and of course still be specific with your planning. All right, so that's tips 1 to 4 already. The 5th and last tip that I want to share with you guys for this first episode of the year is something that I definitely have been guilty of. And of course, this is something that has, stopped, not to be, beat myself. Oh, wait, that sounds I guess I'm keeping that. Not to put myself down. But of course, I was a victim of this because and that's why, let's be specific now. The 5th and last tip is to never compare yourself with others. I'm guilty of this, or I was guilty of this, because I'd keep on comparing myself to my peers that are suddenly getting stronger than me, suddenly getting bigger than me, etc. And of course, that would take away the joy. What's that? comparison is the thief of joy, etc. And that's absolutely true. Never compare yourself to others because you are not working out to be better than them. Of course, unless you have, this sort of competition that you have, internal competition that you have with them. But your main goal of going to the gym and trying your best to stick to going to the gym for the entire 2023 is for yourself, or for your family, or for your general, whatever, your life, whatever is important to you. You are going to the gym for you, not for this person that you see in social media, not for this number one bodybuilder or powerlifter that's already put in 5, 10, 15 years of hard work. And then you're just somebody who's starting out just this January. Then you're going to immediately compare yourself. Obviously, there really will be a difference. And is that bad? Absolutely not. You are a completely different person from that person. You have a different background. Your priorities are really different. You might have prioritized family, career, whatever it is that was important for you prior to you setting yourself to go to the gym. And that's perfectly fine. All you have to do now is to stay in your lane. Don't look left and right. Focus on yourself. Focus on your growth. And that will allow you to stick going to the gym for the whole 2023. To stick to being healthier, to being stronger, to being generally fitter, and being the classic term, to be the best version that you can ever be. Because of course, we want you healthy. We want you to live a long, healthy life. And of course, a long, healthy life with, the highest quality. Hindi yung just couch potato. I mean, of course, you can have those days where you feel like a couch potato, but we want to make sure that you're healthy, that your health is not going to hinder you or limit you with whatever you'd want to do for the rest of your life. So that is precisely why I've listed down these 5 tips to help you stick to going to the gym for the entire 2023. And hopefully, these tips will really help you because, of course, we all know this already. Time and time again, year after year, people make these resolutions, people make these goals, but of course, fail to produce any results. And hopefully, to the few that do listen to this podcast, and of course, to the people that, listened all the way through, I do appreciate you, but I'd find a lot of joy and fulfillment if any of these tips did help you guys out. And anyway, that was my first episode of the year 2023. My resolution is to be as consistent as can be for this podcast because it's something, even though if it's a small community, I've been enjoying doing it. For the number of people of you that have messaged me privately saying that they enjoy it, that they've found value in it, of course, that's really, really helpful. And I do appreciate all of you. All right. Have a good year, everyone. It's already past the first week of January. Hopefully, you guys are still going to show up, make those incremental jumps, have a plan, have solid acceptance on how life is, and to never compare yourself. And that's going to guarantee that you will be a way, way better person or way stronger person at the end of the year 2023. See you guys.